Hi everyone, now we will discuss about the customs of the Tagalogs.
This day's session with a prayer through an audiovisual presentation.
Lord, as we begin today, we ask freshness of your Spirit, that out of confused issues may come simplicity of plan, that out of fear may come confidence, that out of hurry may come deliberation, that out of frustration may come guidance. Let us get to our work, not head first, but heart first. May we be able to disagree without being disagreeable, to differ without being difficult, to be honest without tension, and frank without offense, in an atmosphere of team spirit. Amen.
And through this video, we will learn about the background of the author, the content analysis, content presentation and analysis of the important historical information that found in the documents, and also the contribution of the document in the understanding the grand narrative of Philippine history. We will also learn about the relevance of the document to the contemporary times. Fray Joan de Portocarrero del Convento de Villanueva de la Serena is his real name, and when he came to the Philippines, he called them Juan de Plasencia in Tagalog. He was born in the 60th century in Extremadura, Spanish friar of the Franciscan order. He came together with the first batch of the Franciscan missionaries in the Philippines in the port of Cavite. As he came to our country, he brought various assignments in the Philippines, and also the notable contribution to the mission as brought by him. He also brought his literary works, and one of his literary works is that siya ang author ng pinakaunang libro na naimprinta sa Pilipinas, and that book is Doctrina Christiana, that printed in Tagalog, Spanish, Latin script, and Baybayin script para sa mga tao noon or our natives, and also Chinese. In year 1590, he died in Liliu, Laguna.
As we can see, there is a pyramid. First, chieftain or dato. In Tagalog, pinuno. Chieftain is a power member of an organization, a clan, or a tribe. Second, nobles or maharlika. Nobles, a person with high social or political status. Third, commoners or aliping namamahay. Ang commoners o aliping namamahay ay ang mas mataas na uri ng alipin dahil siya ay may sariling pamamahay at ari-arian. And last, the slaves or aliping sa gigilid. Ang aliping sa gigilid or slave ay isang alipin o tao na walang anumang ari-arian at nakatira sa tahanan ng mismong maharlika. Dato, chief, captain of wars, whom govern and reverenced. Nobles or maharlika, freeborn, they do not pay taxes. Commoners or aliping na mamahay, live in their own houses and lord of their property and gold. Slaves or aliping sa gigilid, serve their master in his house and his cultivated land, and can be sold. House made of wood, bamboo, and nipa palm. Let's proceed to mode of dressing. Mode of dress for male. Headgear or putong. Headgear is a covering or protective device for the head. Next, upper clothing or kanggan, an item of clothing that covers at least the chest. Lower clothing o saya or patadyong tapis, a piece of clothing that covers the human body below. Example po is yung ginagamit ng mga igurot. Mode of dresses for female. Upper clothing, baro or kamisa. Baro or kamisa is a long skirt, and the lower clothing, saya or patadyong tapis. Same lang din po sila sa mode of dresses ng male. Patadyong defined as a malong used in mainland Mindanao. Both male and female ornaments o mga palamuti ng babae at lalaki. Una, kalumbiga. Kalumbiga is a golden bracelet. Pendants. Pendants is mga palawit like necklace. Bracelets, in Tagalog, pulseras. Leglets is an ornamental band or ring for the leg. Some wore gold filling between the teeth. Noong unang panahon, ang ilang tao ay nagsusuot ng ginto sa pagitan ng kanilang ngipin. And last, tattoos. Sa mga sinaunang tao, may mga tattoo sila o nagpapatattoo po sila. Islas del Pentados, a term coined by the Spaniards for the Visayas. Administration of justice. The chieftain's executive function includes implementing laws, ensuring order, giving protection to his subjects. Kasama sa mga tungkulin ng mga pinuno na magpatupad ng mga batas kung saan magtitiyak ng kaayusan at nagbibigay ng proteksyon sa kanilang mga nasasakupan. Disputes between individuals were settled by a court made up of the chieftain and council of elders. Kung magkakaroon man ng alitan sa pagitan ng individual, malulutas ng hukuman na kung saan binuo ng mga pinuno at isang konseho ng mga matatanda. Inheritance. The first son of barangay chieftains inherits his father's position. If the first son dies, the second son succeeds their father. In the absence of the male's heirs, it is the eldest daughter that becomes the chieftain. Ang panganay na anak ng pinuno ng isang barangay ay magmamana ng posisyon ng kanilang ama. Kapag namatay naman ang una niyang anak, ang pangalawang anak naman ang hahaligi sa kanilang ama, tsaka kung wala namang lalaking tagapagmana, ang panganay na anak na babae ang magiging pinuno. Proceed naman tayo sa slave on be emancipated through. First, forgiveness o pagpapatawad. Second, paying debt or pagbabayad ng utang. Third, condition. Marriage of customs. Kaugalian ng kasal. Courtship begins with paninilbihan. Ang isang pagliligaw ay nagsisimula sa paninilbihan mo sa tao. Men, monogamous, their wives o asawa. Man requires to give dowry. Kailangan ng mga lalaki na magbigay ng dote o regalo. Una, bigay kaya. Paglilipat ng pagmamay-ari, regalo o pera ng magulang sa kasal ng babae. Pangalawa, panghihimuyat is a certain amount of money given to be parents. Pangatlo, bigay suso. Ito ay bahagi ng tradisyonal na kaugalian hinggil sa pag-aasawa kapag nagkasundo sa pag-isang dibdib.
We also have the religious belief. Tagalog peoples also have the religious belief. They worship many gods and goddesses, and first of these is the Bathala. In the indigenous religion of the ancient Tagalogs, Bathala or Maykapal was the transcendent supreme being. It is the originator and the ruler of the universe, or they called supreme being. The second one is the Idayanale. It is identified as the goddess of agriculture in some sources. Aside from being a goddess of agriculture, Idayanale is also identified as the goddess of animal husbandry. Number 3 is Sidarapa. Sidarapa is the god of death. Number 4 is Balangaw. It is the god of rainbow. They believe that the bridge of Valhalla is called the rainbow, and its symbol is symbolic sign. Number 6 is Mandarangan. It is known by the god of war. 7. Lalahon, god of harvest. 8 is Siginarugan, or the god of hell. Jan Masalanta is the goddess of love, childbirth, peace, and the protector of lovers among the ancient Tagalogs. They also believe in sacred animals and trees, like the tree balete, na pinaniniwalaan noon na ang punong ito ay bahay daw ng mga engkanto like Kapre and Tikbalang. Another one is Anitos or Diwatas. All Filipino has as its basis the idea of supernatural beings called Anito or sometimes Diwata. We also have this burial as aware naman po tayo sa process or sa mga ginagawa noon and hanggang ngayon tuwing may burol po and yung mga proseso na ginagawa nila is part po ng religious beliefs nila and as today po. As part of the content analysis, we also have the superstitions. Tagalog people believe in the immortality and in the existence of a number of gods or goddesses. And they also thought that diseases were thought to be caused by the temper of the environmental spirits. Like sa atin po, yung isa sa pamahiin natin daw is pag may dumaan sa'yo or sa harapan mo na itim na pusa or anything na itim is that parang mamalasin ka daw pag uwi mo or mamalasin ka in that day. They also have these superstitions about burying the dead. In burying the dead, the corpse would be placed beside its house and be mourned at 4 days. It will then be laid on a boat which serves as a coffin which is guarded by stave. And the grief of the relatives of the deceased is followed by eating and drinking. As nowadays, hindi na masyadong ginagawa yung uso yung pag may patay or may burol, pag last night siya or last night na bago ilibing, they will have that something pasayaw. And then, kinabukasan, pagtapos ng libing is magpapakain sa mga taong nakiramay or sumama sa kanila sa paglilibing ng taong namatay sa kanila. Also have the divination and magic charms, as it interpreted sign in nature. They also believe in magical power of amulet and charms such as anting-anting, kulam, and gayuma or love potion. They also believe in the existence of the aswang, mangkukulam, manggagaway, tiyanak, and tatikbalang. There's amulets and charms that they use for protection that are also used by the ancient. But today, we also use some amulets or anting-anting or like necklace that we use for, they said, protection or anything na makakapag bigay sa'yo ng guidance through your journey or everyday life. They also have this economic life. Their economic life is all about agriculture in the plainlands, that they are planting of rice, corn, banana, coconut, sugar canes, and other kinds of vegetables and fruits. They also do fishing in some yung mga lugar na may dagat, and also they used to mining or pagmimina ng ginto or pagkuha ng mga punong kahoy like pagtotroso. And they also have this international trade, which is yung pag-import and export ng mga produkto na mula sa atin at sa ibang bansa. Like sabi nga sa unang discussion, nag-i-export din tayo ng mga asukal dati, and hindi lang tayo yung puro import, but tayo din dati is nag-export din tayo ng mga produkto natin. Next slide, we have the language and systems of writing. In the ancient year, the major languages they use are Tagalog, Ilocano, Pangasinan or Pangasinense, Pangpangan or Kapangpangan today, Sungbuhanon, Hiligaynon, Maguindanao, and Samarnon. These languages is originated from the Malayo-Polynesian language. Their systems of writing have the alphabets consisted of 3 vowels and 14 consonants called baybayi, or we call today baybayin. They also use top of trees as ink and pointed stick as pencil. They wrote on large plant leaves, bark of a tree, or a bamboo tubes. As dati, wala pa naman tayong mga innovative na bagay, gumagawa sila ng sarili nilang mga notebook, paper, like that. They try to be creative talaga kasi they need to study as well. As dati, talagang masisipag mag-aral ang mga Tagalog people or the ancient people or natives.
And presentation and analysis of the important historical information found in the document. The context of the writing of Fray Juan de Plasencia depicts the ancient or the pre-colonial life of the Filipinos before and arrival of the Spain, as embodied and Plasencia's detailed variation on how was the life of the Filipinos during this time. Ang nilalaman ng pagsulat ni Fray Juan de Plasencia ay naglalarawan ng sinauna pre-colonial ng buhay ng mga Pilipino. Bago at pagdating ng mga Espanyol, bilang isinama ang detalyadong pagsalaysay ni Plasencia kung paano ang buhay ng mga Pilipino sa panahong ito. It's just proof that this occurrence, beliefs, and practices had been existing long before the arrival of the Spaniards. Hence, it is appropriate to be dumb to the Western depiction of the islands as barbaric, uncivilized, and uncultured when they arrived. Based on Plasencia's observation, the Tagalogs are already civilized and have a sophisticated culture as described in Plasencia's report. Patunay lamang na ang mga paniniwala at gawin ng pangyayaring ito ay umiiral na bago pa man dumating ang mga Kastila. Batay sa obserbasyon ni Plasencia, ang mga Tagalog ay sibilisado na at sopistikadong kultura gaya ng inilarawan sa ulat ni Plasencia.
And the second to the last is the contribution of the document in understanding the grand narrative of Philippine history. The period of Islamization of the southern part of the country had also contributed much to the development of culture and some part of civility in these places. A civilizer and a savior of our condemns from endless hellfire primarily concerned with the Filipino pre-Hispanic way of existence. The accounts of the religious systems before also contribute for us in understanding the grand narrative of the Philippine history, and also common source of references to the pre-conquest indigenous. The last one is the relevance of the document to the contemporary times. It serves as the basis of historical reconstruction of Tagalog society. Many of the 60th century beliefs and practices are still present today, and it affirms that during the pre-Hispanic period, Filipinos already have government as well as set of beliefs and practices wherein we can still observe today. The relevance of the documents in present time is that we still use or believe in some of these norms. It informs us that the natives or the Filipinos in some degree had classification way back as to where we belong in society. In today's time, we still use barangays in pertaining to the smallest division or unit of a city. We also use some superstitions. We still believe in them. It's a matter of fact. We still used to exhibit or do the thing that they believe in. It also shows that even before the Spanish came, we had a system in which we could trade with other countries and be independent. The contribution and relevance in understanding of this document is that the Philippines is a civilized country even before the Spanish occupation. It is not true that the country does not practice any religious activity, and this tradition builds the country's distinct identity from the other countries. The country also possesses a social hierarchy. That is why a sense of authority was established. It also strengthens the culture of Filipinos because it signifies that even before these occupations, the country has a distinct culture and belief system of its own. The country is not solely dependent on other nations, but it can actually stood up on its own.